Resident Evil is the biggest horror franchise on Earth, mainly because of its weapons. But how have the weapons made the games more fun, more scary, and more successful? There's only one way to know for sure, by examining and rating every weapon in the series. I am Nisse, a Resident Evil expert, and I will share with you what I know, from basic to bonus to secret weapons. Ready or not, my friend? Like and subscribe, and welcome home. And together, let's enter the world of survival horror.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 1 got the formula right on the very first try. A group of cops get trapped in a horror movie mansion, where they discover zombies and mystery. You as the player find subsequently more powerful weapons as the plot thickens and challenges mount. And you get a choice of two characters, Chris Redfield or my mommy, Jill Valentine, which offer two different playthroughs in the same location. Weapons of RE1. Chris starts out with the first and perhaps most iconic weapon of the Resident Evil series, the knife. The knife is horrible. Consulting antique game fact guides, hallowed be thy name, my gaming lord. The knife can take dozens of stabs to kill a basic zombie. F tier is what I would say if I was an uneducated zoomer. You see, the knife exists to teach you a tremendous wisdom. If and when you run out of bullets, your last option is going to be a fucking toothpick. In other words, the knife makes you fear running out of bullets. E tier, an icon for the right reasons. Jill, being the more sensible of the two characters, starts out with a handgun. Ah, the handgun and the knife, the bread and butter of the Resident Evil series. Get used to them and they will reward you. Neglect them
And you will suffer.
It might take 8 or 9 bullets to down one zombie, but the handgun's weak firepower encourages you to learn the basics, like dodging, ammo management, zoning, and fantasizing about Jill putting the gun in your mouth while giving you mommy dom. D tier. And imagine how satisfying it will be when you get your first real gun, like the pump-action shotgun, which can waste a room full of zombies in 2 to 3 shots. And, if you're close enough, can even turn zombie heads into Japanese novelty strawberry candy. Powerful, fun, and the main weapon you'll use throughout Resident Evil 1. B tier for this all-time workhorse. The Flamethrower, Chris's exclusive weapon. It the Flamethrower. It crisps zombies real good. But with no reloads and a limited range. So even though I'm a biased pyromaniac, I can only call it A tier. Bazooka, or, grenade launcher, Jill's exclusive weapon. It's basically a reskinned shotgun, which makes it a shotgun with explosive ammo. Impressive. Very nice. Aside from the exploding rounds, the lemon and strawberry rounds do acid and fire damage respectively. But while effective, sloppy animation and weak sound design make the grenade launcher very unsatisfying to use. D tier. Forgettable. Colt Python, or Magnum. This is the first weapon on our list that perhaps only I, Nisse, could show you, because the Magnum is an entirely optional gun. Because of the Magnum's optional nature, the gun is a little glittery extra for mindful players. But how good is it? The Magnum kills almost everything in one shot, with one big, loud Counter-Strike 1.6 style pang. The sheer killing power of the Magnum is offset by the fact that on normal, there's only 30 rounds available for it, and on hard, only 18. I'm feeling a solid B tier for this enjoyable Easter egg weapon. Next, the rocket launcher, which is dropped to you during the final boss fight. It has 4 shots, and if you hit one of them, you win. Juicy, whooshy, fun. What's even better is, if you beat the game really fast, you get a special rocket launcher to keep throughout your next playthrough that has infinite ammo. That's right, back in the day, developers made games to be fun. How about that? But Nisse, how do you know this? Because I've speedrun Resident Evil 1 as Jill, because I'm severely addicted to digital mommies. B tier. And that does it for Resident Evil 1. Now, moving on to the best Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 2 pulled the classic sequel move, taking what worked, expanding on it, and experimenting, which is why it has both more good stuff and more epic memes. Resident Evil 2's characters are Claire Redfield, sister of Chris Redfield, and Leon Fuck Me Daddy Kennedy. At the start of RE2, you pick one character and get forcibly separated from the other for your A scenario, whereupon when you beat the game, you unlock playing as the separated character for the B scenario, which, much like Resident Evil 1, is a run that offers the same map but with remixed items, locations, and puzzles. And if you complete all these arcade-inspired scenarios with good grades and in good time, you unlock tons of sneaky bonuses that we'll get to later. RE2's first weapon is the knife. It's not good, D tier, purely because this time it looks cooler. Handgun. It's a handgun, and Leon's handgun has a substantially larger magazine than Claire's, because you see in Japan, the place Resident Evil comes from, the men's penises are larger than the women's penises. Don't worry, based Resident Evil director Shinji Mikami, I see where you're driving at. Women need men's protection, which is why I will now gift subs in their chats. D tier for the handgun. Shotgun. Leon's exclusive early game weapon. C tier. It's good. Bowgun. Claire's exclusive early game weapon. The bowgun is literally a worse shotgun, being a crossbow that fires 4 arrows at once. It's basically a hilarious prank played on Claire, because it's shit. It has none of the shotgun spread and can one-shot a zombie only if you point blank it with all 4 arrows. And even then, sometimes the zombie will just survive anyway. However, due to the bowgun's aesthetic and uniqueness, most notably its sound design, it is unironically a fantastically fun weapon, probably in part because there's only 18 arrows in the chamber and you only get 1 reload for it, which means the bowgun comes and goes quickly. B tier. Because it's a very funny, snacky little novelty in the early game. I'm sorry, Claire, but you get to hold this L. Now where's that credit card? Moving on to the grenade launcher, Claire's exclusive late game weapon. I am happy to inform the women in the audience that the pranking women part of Claire's playthrough is over when she finds the grenade launcher.
Let's have a blast!
Time for some girl power, baby. The launcher is just like RE1's launcher, but with better visuals and sound design. Clearing a room with a single incendiary shot, I rate it a "my penis is stiffening as we speak" out of 10. A tier. Astounding. They fixed it. Next up, Spark Shot. And we're back to dabbing on women.
We're back to beating women.
But only extremely briefly. The Spark Shot is Claire's second meme gun and is an experimental weapon that shoots weak-ass lightning. Not only is the Spark Shot extremely loud, it may also induce an epileptic shock in the user. Firm F tier. For fuck this weapon. Flamethrower. Leon's first meme gun is also found in the labs, much like with Claire's Spark Shot. If the Flamethrower was found in the early game, it would have been great against small groups of basic zombies or dogs. Instead, you get it in the late game to use against Triffids. I guess they fucking plants? Much like with Chris's Flamethrower in RE1, it's not that bad. Whee! E tier. It's kind of fun. Submachine Gun. The Submachine Gun is actually found in the police precinct before the labs, but it has a neat gimmick. If you pick it up during your current character's A scenario, the following opposite character's B scenario will not have it. This creates a decision where you might want to leave it for the considerably harder B scenario, or just pick it up now and waste some dogs. Your call. It's just a gimmick, but a neat one that gets your noggin jogging. As a gun, the Submachine Gun is, it's okay. It's an SMG. It works. C tier. Fun. Up next, woo, the Magnum. Leon's exclusive late game weapon is the Magnum. Magnum. Good. The Magnum kills basic zombies in 1 hit. And you actually get ammo for it. S tier. Extremely satisfying. You know, looking back at the list, the weapons here really don't seem all too boys favored. Claire has more L's, but the grenade launcher and bowgun are seriously fun. But you didn't think Shinji Mikami was done Oppan Gangnam styling on women, did you? Time for some secret Nisse knowledge. Because as an RE veteran, I can confirm that RE2 also has secret or overlooked weapons, just like with RE1's Magnum. And fun fact, they're all exclusive to Leon. With the handgun parts, the shotgun parts, and the Magnum parts. By our powers combined, we are the C guns. But Nisse, what does C stand for? It stands for... I'm gonna go. All the 3 Coom guns are very fun. The C handgun can be unlocked in the early mid-game, and it gets a very handy triple shot burst. The C.Shotgun is gotten in the mid-game, has wider spread and more damage for the already powerful shotgun. The C Magnum is gotten very late, but lets the already insanely powerful Magnum rounds penetrate zombies, which means you can Victoria Sarah style clear a whole row of zombies with 1 shot, which incidentally is another Japanese character I'd like to have my nuts shoot on. Triple S+ tier for all the upgraded weapons. Because Shinji Mikami knew, even decades ago, that all men wanna do is upgrade their weapons. Claire's only secret weapon is the Colt S.A.A, which is gotten when you unlock the secret costume closet, usually a second playthrough thing. The Colt's single-action army, probably a reference to Metal Gear.
Revolver Ocelot. This is the greatest handgun ever made. The Colt's single-action army.
This gun is the best gun ever.
Is an upgraded handgun that somewhat compensates for Claire's regular handgun, but not really. D tier? I don't care, because the girls are gonna get their revenge anyway in the next game. Lastly, there's the B scenario rocket launcher, which, much like the RE1 launcher, is used to finish off a boss.
Game over.
But it's just a set piece and not really part of dynamic gameplay. Pretty forgettable. E tier.
Rocket launcher.
So that does it for RE2's guns. Or does it? Just like I teased previously, RE2 has lots of bonus unlockables if you get good grade rankings and good runtimes. This involves playing as Hunk or Tofu and beating specific courses with specific weapons. These modes are great fun, and I remember that as a kid I would devour videos of these playthroughs on early YouTube in a brimming 240p quality. If you do well with your grades, the stern meritocratic father that is Shinji Mikami will reward you, whether boy or girl, with the infinite rocket launcher, infinite submachine gun, and infinite Gatling gun. Pretty 80s action hero, pretty fun and badass, and an excellent send-off to a game you've already proven to have mastered. A tier, because fun extras are extra fun. Hashtag thank you based Mikami in the chat. Resident Evil 2's bonus courses provided insane replayability for an already replayable game, and when Resident Evil 2's sequel rolled around, it iterated on this. The franchise that just years previous had nailed and revolutionized the survival horror formula was about to do it again. RE3 shows such insane innovation that it's hard to believe it's on the same console as Resident Evil 1. RE3's gameplay is faster, the controls are exact, you can 180, there's timed combat dodges, and most importantly, you play as my mom again. The addition of gunpowder mixing to make your own ammunition added a juicy and wonderfully delicious flash game roguelike aspect that rocks in itself, and which further upgrades replayability of an already super replayable game series. The weapons of RE3. First up, the handgun, this time being the Samurai Edge, which in the lore is custom built for the STARS team, which is a blend of 1911 M9 and pure sickness. C tier. Fun fact, the Samurai Edge is made by the guy in Resident Evil 2 who goes, "Who are ya? What are you doing here?"
Who are you? What are you doing here?
The knife. The RE3 knife has significant changes, because in this game, chopping zombies in the legs now drops them to the floor, and chopping zombies in the head deals extra damage. This means that truly hardcore gamers can combine the knife with a new movement system to do work. Yas queen. Slay. Very, very few people, however, know of the RE3 knife's secret ability, which, and I'm serious, is so secret I couldn't confirm it even on GameFAQs, peace be upon them, but we'll get to this later. The knife is C tier, but mostly because of its sick visual redesign and reanimation. The shotgun. Since we're done with RE2's disgusting anti-women rhetoric, Jill gets a hold of a previously men's-only weapon, and this time it looks even cooler. C tier. Honoring an old workhorse. But hold up, big girl time, grenade launcher, which has gone from epic tier to need a mosquito tier, because now it comes in vanilla, lemon, strawberry, and blueberry flavor, which are extra powerful and rare freeze rounds that you gotta mix yourself from gunpowder if you want more, past the game's sampling size of only 6. S tier. Extremely powerful, fun, and blends perfectly by the gunpowder mixing minigame. Ooh, I just love this one. Next up, assault rifle, which is another percentage counter weapon, which should communicate that it has no reloads, but if you play the game in the easy difficulty setting, Jill starts the game with 2 reloads for it. Because of its high fire rate, it's great against fast enemies like the hunters. And fun fact, because a 3-shot burst is 1% of the total ammo, it logically means that the assault rifle contains 300 bullets in 1 magazine. Never let realism get in the way of a fun weapon. B tier. Very nice. Rocket Launcher. Another classic making a return, this time being used against the Nemesis boss fight, the reoccurring titular boss of Resident Evil 3 that will simply not cease sexually harassing Jill with his tentacle arms. D tier. Because the chase is always more fun than the catch. And now comes my favorite category, secret weapons. First and foremost, let me blow your mind. Did you know you can actually fight and kill the Nemesis from the very first time that you meet him? You can. And more interestingly, hardcore players are encouraged to, because Nemesis drops unique weapon parts that combine into awesome guns. First up, Eagle Parts A and B make the STI Eagle 6.0, a custom gun designed for firearms competitions. It's stronger than the Samurai Edge in every aspect: damage, knockback, fire rate, reload time, and very low recoil. Did you know basically every gun in the RE series has a chance to do a critical hit and deal more damage? It's so subtle that you may never have noticed it, but with the Eagle you will, because its crit chance is significantly higher, and when it goes off, a zombie loses its head. A tier. Spellbindingly cool to me as a kid, and encouraging you to take risks. And if you continue investing more precious bullets into fighting the Nemesis, you'll drop the M37 parts A and B that together make the Western custom M37. Literally just a better shotgun. Possibly a reference to Terminator 2 based. C tier. Next up, Mine Thrower, found in the clock tower, but only on hard difficulty. Rating the Mine Thrower, it throws mines, so a more finicky grenade launcher. That being said, because it's harder to do, hitting the middle target of a group of zombies and watching several limbs go flying at once is admittedly extremely satisfying. D tier.
I read you, sir.
Mostly a meme, but you know what? A good meme. And now we get to the spicy part. Resident Evil 3. The Mercenaries. Operation Mad Jackal. Mercenaries, which took the bonus modes from RE2 and turned it into its own game inside the game. Basically, pick a character and use their particular loadout to make it through the course and extract before the time runs out. Extra time is given for rescuing optional characters, killing zombies, and pulling sick moves. But you want to know what adds the most time to the timer in Mercenaries? Getting a kill with a knife. This is the knife's secret ability. Extremely few people know about it, and without it, beating Mercenaries with Nikolai would be basically impossible. Because he starts out with some real fucking trash gear. When you do beat Mercenaries, you're rewarded with in-game cash that you can spend on beefing up your next regular playthrough of the game. The fun toys you can buy include infinite ammo assault rifle, infinite ammo Gatling gun, and infinite ammo rocket launcher. Pretty fun items, but we've already seen these in RE2, so E tier. Because by the time you unlock them, they won't be that interesting. However, the last thing you can buy for Mercenary Cash is infinite ammo for all weapons. This is a lot fresher because it means that you can Magnum your way through the entire game. C tier.
It costs $400,000 to fire this weapon for 12 seconds.
And speaking of which, you didn't think I actually forgot the Resident Evil 3 Magnum, did you? Because I totally fucking did. It's basically the exact same Magnum, but it has cooler ammunition this time, so, you know, it's still last year. And speaking of ammunition, this is some certified secret shit. Even if you've played Resident Evil 3 multiple times, you might not know about the SG Shell E and HG Bullets E, as in enhanced ammo. Every time you mix shotgun or handgun ammo in Resident Evil 3, Jill gets a little bit better at it. And the 7th time you mix this ammo, you will be prompted to create enhanced ammunition. This ammunition is described as overpressurized ammunition plus P, which, fun fact, is actually a real-world thing, because when you put more pressure into a bullet, it shoots harder. That's actually real. This type of ammo is much more powerful, however, it can't be loaded into the Eagle or the M37 Custom, which is why some Resident Evil 3 pros prefer the regular shotgun and handgun. Being able to find new secrets in a game you've played many times is one of those incredible special feelings, and the enhanced ammunition is no exception. There's just no doubt about its placement. Triple S plus tier. Because I love this shit. Lastly, I guess we might as well put the reloading tool up there also, because, I mean, it's so cool! S tier, because it's so poggers. But hold up, we gotta make room. Nice. For the record, this is week 4 of me making this video. I had no idea that I needed a tier list this big. I hope you're liking, subscribing, and supporting me on Patreon. Good. Mwah. I love you. Anyways, reloading tool. Now let's take a step back. As we can see here, with each iteration of the Resident Evil franchise, the formula is clearly improved. The bonus weapons and costumes of RE1 evolved into the entire bonus sections of RE2, which in turn became the ground plate for half of Resident Evil 3. This is called iteration, and it's the process by which anything is perfected. To practice this in your own life, set the bar low for yourself, do 5 minutes every day, and kill your perfectionism. Now, Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 are all on the 5th generation of home consoles, PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64. What happens when we take a step into the 6th generation, primarily PS2 and GameCube? Better graphics, bigger CD memory, and juicier RAM, more powerful tools for the hungry developer. We are about to enter Era 2 of Resident Evil. Resident Evil. The first one again? What the fuck? The first thing Capcom did with the new hardware. The first thing that Capcom did with the new hardware was remake Resident Evil 1. This was a first safe step before they could take the riskier step with Resident Evil 0. The Resident Evil 1 remake, or RE-make as we called it in the comments back on early YouTube, is the good kind of remake/remaster, unafraid to fix what's broken. Why hello there, Jill. It's me, Georges, the friendly zombie. The infamous plot, translation, and voice acting of the original.
Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Oh, you were almost a Jill sandwich.
Hurry! You were almost a Jill sandwich.
All of it was thrown out and replaced with a tighter story, real dialogue, and solid voice acting.
What is this place? Not quite your ordinary house, that's for sure.
I fucking love Albert Wesker, and his voice actor is absolute liquid gold, especially in the rail shooter spin-off.
We shall meet again before the conclusion of this drama. Then, you will learn of the history I will write for this world.
Alright, let me try to contain my boner. Right, remake. Lots of other good stuff was also added, like Lisa Trevor, Julia Voth being the new face of my mom, and much, much more. Remake is so good that if you want to try Resident Evil, start here. Seriously, that's how good it is. Weapons of remake. We're only covering new or updated stuff since everything else is just like the originals. So the first new weapon is the Assault Shotgun. Much like the level 2 Left 4 Dead shotgun, it's a stronger shotgun. Cool visual, but unexciting, with none of the punch of the Western Custom or C.Shotgun. E tier. The villain here is boring sound design, something we'll see a lot of in both remake and RE0. So just to have it said, these games are fantastic. Now, Fuel Canteen, also known as Lighter, might not seem like a weapon, but zombies who don't die by losing their head, their legs, or by fire will randomly get up again through your playthrough as Crimson Heads. This is where the Fuel Canteen comes in, letting you set fire to down zombies. Crimson Heads are A. Fast zombies with crazy damage and health. B. Fucking terrifying. In Resident Evil 2, there's a point where if you haven't secured the police station shutters, zombies will break in from the street. The feeling that zombies had broken into the precinct I had spent so much time securing horrified me as a kid. Crimson Heads play on the exact same fear by making the mansion feel untrustworthy. And for that reason, the Fuel Canteen is S tier. You know what? Let's put the Crimson Boys up there too. Because all of this leans remake towards survival horror and item management, where disciplined players keep their flasks topped off, and ditzy players get eaten. Now, lots of players will tell you they dislike the Crimson Heads, but this is how you know it's a well-designed enemy. Because people fear it. Self-defense items. Another one of remake's experiments. Along with your main weapon, you can equip a defensive weapon for when you get grabbed. Dagger. When grabbed, your character will spend it to shove back the enemy to avoid a bite. Pretty good. It's like a shield in a shoot-'em-up. Tazer. Jill's exclusive D item. Works like the dagger, but also stuns the enemy and sometimes even kills them. Howdy, Jill. It's me again, Georges. Now, I'm not biting you, but I'm gonna go for a nibble, okay? Flash grenade. Chris's exclusive item. Chris jams the grenade in a bad guy's mouth, whereupon it explodes. One-hit kill, kinda neat. Self-defense gun. A one-round Magnum kills any non-boss enemy with one shot. The flavor text of this item explains how it's a two-shot gun with one shot spent. The implication being by the gun's previous owner. Dark, eerie, Japanese. Very nice. The self-defense items are a snacky novelty and a very interesting experiment. A tier, I'm down. Good stuff, Capcom. Bonus weapon, Samurai Edge. In our remake, the Samurai Edge is the infinite ammo handgun that you unlock if you beat the game in under 5 hours. It's, forgettable. D tier. Secret weapon, Barry's Magnum. At one point in the game, Barry can lose his Magnum, and if you find it, he'll ask for it back. To this, you can answer no. Which nets you the most powerful gun in any Resident Evil game. Wait, most powerful? Really? Yes, because Barry's Magnum one-taps every enemy in the game, including the fucking final boss. With none of the awkwardness of the rocket launcher. It only has 6 shots, but it's all you'll ever need. Triple S+ tier. I love the way it sounds like a flintlock. These weapons of our remake are just log-on, solid base of the same guns, but with a bit of new freshness. Interestingly, the next game in the RE canon came out 6 months later, also in 2002, yet it experimented less. Resident Evil 0. Bitches. Zero began development for the N64 after the very successful Resident Evil 2 port. To utilize the N64's faster processor, the game was built around a duo system where 2 main characters could be swapped out at any time. Because of this, you play as Billy, a criminal, and Rebecca, a nurse, at the same time, swapping out between the two as you go. Resident Evil 0 contains many scenes where Rebecca reacts to wet slugs. As a child, watching one of the first ever Let's Plays I'd ever seen, these scenes made me horny. Weapons of Resident Evil. I should probably cut that. Knife, handgun, shotgun, magnum, grenade, and rockets. It's becoming a bit like a nursery rhyme. And while Zero's basics all work, the sound design really lets them all down. However, a few highlights will make up for this, as you'll see. And speaking of which, knife. Really fucking good iteration of the knife. Really cool and tactical pose and solid sound design. C tier. Since it's still only really useful on downed zombies. Rebecca's handgun. Simple, but satisfying. And she looks cute while using it. C tier. If only Rebecca would shoot my dick off with that thing. It'd be like a full circle from when I was a kid. Maybe I'd finally not be horny. Billy's handgun. Stronger than Rebecca's, because I guess we're just openly sexist now, but looks goofy. No thanks. E tier. Disclaimer, I still do respect Billy's Orlando Bloom vibes. Alright, basics done, it's sad time. Hookshot. Not actually a weapon, but it's a hookshot in a video game that isn't used for any secrets. Fundamentally disappointing. F tier. Could've replaced it with a rope. Shotgun. Looks cool, but zero punch. E tier. Grenade launcher. Explosive, fire, and acid rounds, none of which really have punch either. D tier. Rocket launcher. Alright, kind of a sweet visual design, but sounds like a drum. Also, it can't jib enemies. What? What? F tier. Why are you calling this a rocket launcher? Wait, is that why they're calling it RE0? Cause it's got 0 good guns? Oh. And speaking of zero bitches, Magnum. Damn. Like, really, damn. The RE0 Magnum is a tragedy. While still being a one-shot kill and having bullet penetration, it just does not sound like a Magnum. And it looks stinky. Rebecca's Magnum is an Agent 47 silver baller without weight or elegance. Billy's Magnum is literally just a video game Magnum. In fact, this image is from Fallout New Vegas, but could you even tell? How'd you mess this up? F tier. We just put 2 Magnums in F tier. What the fuck? Guys, come on. We can do better. Also, the final boss in this game, I mean, listen for yourself.
Now I will have my revenge on Umbrella, and the world will burn in an inferno of hate.
You'll pay for what you've done.
We'll see which one of us is gonna die.
This really is our all is lost moment for this list, because with RE-Make and RE0, we lost the sound designer for the first few Resident Evil games, Hideaki Utsumi. Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't die. He just didn't make sound effects for these games. Get this fucking sad music out of here. We need something better. Yeah! Hideaki made RE2 one of the best sounding games of all time. Easily up there with Half-Life 1, Ocarina of Time, StarCraft,
nuclear launch detected,
and so on. Out of sheer respect in this moment of darkness, we gotta place my man Utsumi in S tier. Fun fact, Hideaki is actually the guy on YouTube with the red meme bird. Yeah, really? No, seriously. That red meme bird. That red meme bird. Right, next up, RE0's new and interesting stuff. Upgraded handgun. After the fun-ass STI Eagle of RE3, Rebecca and Billy can upgrade their handguns for higher fire rate and higher crit chance. Now, I like upgrades, but the way you earn this is not as cool, and it doesn't really have impressive visuals or sound either. Ultimately, it's just the same idea done again. So I gotta call this D tier. Submachine Gun, which is unlocked if you get an A rank or higher. Okay, now we're talking. Sure, it's just a clone of the Ingram, but it's an actual H&K Mp5, and it looks sweet, and it sounds pretty cool too. C tier. This one passes. Molly. Abysmal sound design, but it is a Molotov Cocktail, and therefore automatically fun to use. C tier. Having to craft them yourself also adds a little something to it. Hunting gun. Sounds like a bag of shit, but a fun-ass weapon. The Duplay style over-under double barrel makes it one of those risky but rewarding weapons in games. B tier. It's a great shotgun, also looks like a traditional hunting gun. Very nice. That being said, terrible headshot sound. And I know that the enemies are supposed to be made of slugs. I mean, come on, you think I haven't beat off in this game before? Jesus Christ. But it still doesn't sound good. Make it sound like this. Headshot. And we're talking. One of RE0's few experiments was the new storage system. While the earlier games had the magical item transporting storage box, RE0 forces you to actually bring your items with you. This is to balance the fact that you now have two characters, which means double the inventory space. But it can also sadly mean that new players leave behind items like the hunting gun completely unknowingly. But bad new ideas are better than no new ideas, because at least we get something fresh to complain about. Alright, so taking stock, RE0's guns are just too pathetic. One single B tier, and even then, that's a generous B tier. But, hold on, we're not done just yet. The last secret in RE0 is Wesker mode. Yes, really, you get to play as Albert Wesker, the main antagonist of the RE series. And Wesker has a unique attack. It's so fucking cool, man. I love Capcom for adding that. They're such ballers for having fun with their video games. Now, while Wesker is one of the greatest villains ever, with the greatest voice acting ever, he's also super fun to play. But hold on, RE0 is built around a team of two characters, right? So how are you gonna play the game alone? Well, you don't, because when you select Wesker mode from the extras menu, Billy disappears from the game, and Rebecca gets turned into a brainwashed evil version with a complimentary hot baddie outfit. An already certified cutie being turned into a vampire bitch to the greatest vampire lord in gaming? Wesker, I was already gonna give you S tier, so I guess it's triple S plus for you.
My behind was scrapped by Marcus's unfortunate outburst.
But wait,
Ada, wait!
Why did Wesker mode rate so highly? When we compare Wesker's death stare to the other weapons in Zero, we see that the stare is closer to the first era's weapon design. 4 factors are behind the difference. Sound. The death stare sounds fun, the other guns don't. Risk. The wind-up forces you to strategize and think differently. Meanwhile, the other guns are ones we've already seen and perfected in the previous titles. Conservation. The death stare's infinite ammo is a refreshing break from ammo conservation, especially considering how in Zero you easily end up with tons of extra ammunition anyway. Flavor. The particular feeling and aesthetic of a death stare is itself fun, while the other guns, again, are just guns we've seen before. My love, here we have it. The answer to our question from the start of the video. How have the guns of RE made the series more fun, more scary, and more successful? Resident Evil's guns are born from the design where both shooting and not shooting is fun, and it's the 4 factors we listed that makes this happen. But this isn't true for Remake or Zero. Why? Games can do so many things to capture us. Great characters, great challenge, great discovery, and Era 2 did well for reasons other than their gun design. But Nisse, how can we then rate Era 2 and 3 if their guns are just recycled ideas? My darling, it appears it's time for the grand reveal. This video is not actually about weapons, but about the ideas that make Resident Evil capture us, that sold those millions of copies, that's changed gaming history, and that's kept me engaged since I was a kid. It is only fair that we complete this list by rating the rest of the series, by what makes the games worth playing, instead of unfairly rating the gun design they don't have. Let's do this in style, by summoning the power of the lightning round. Lightning Round, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Code Veronica contains recycled guns and a recycled plot, where Claire Redfield is once again searching for her cardboard cutout of a brother. So why play it? The music is great, the atmosphere is great, some of the locations are fantastic. But let's get real. Comedy, S tier. Resident Evil is sometimes extremely funny, whether to laugh with or at. But the voice acting of the Ashford family is a highlight.
What is it, Alexia?
Nothing. I believe I must have been imagining things.
But actually, Edward is the MVP of the Ashford twins.
Enjoy this.
In fact, lots of Code Veronica's cutscenes contain highlights on their own, so let's exemplify it with the single best cutscene in the game. Albert tastes the back of my crystal fist Wesker blasting his side hoe. Rating Code Veronica. Code Veronica is the most fun RE game to check out drunk with friends. Lightning Round, Resident Evil 4. Fighting system, S tier. Resident Evil 4 revolutionized the gaming world by being the first solid over-the-shoulder shooter. The rock paper scissors setup marries the new action with the classic ammo conservation. Guns of RE4, F tier. Not because they're all bad, but because they're overall bloat. How? There's 3 functionally identical shotguns. There's 3 functionally identical handguns. There's 2 functionally identical Magnums, one of which is fun and neat and S tier, and one of which is the same thing, but with slightly better RPG stats. This unnecessary copy-pasting of guns becomes extra offensive when we learn that the game already has a weapon upgrade system that could outright replace the stronger versions of guns you already had. Now, this is a pretty spicy take, and I originally wrote a much longer part for Resident Evil 4 explaining my thoughts. So if this sounded unfair to you, you can listen to that completely for free on patreon.com/Nisse5e. Link in the description. Now, to this point, Red 9, S tier. The Red 9 is the 4th handgun of RE4, worse than the others in every single way. Harder to aim, smaller magazine, slower to reload, but with far more damage. This is the kind of side grade design RE4 missed out on. Finding the shotgun on the wall in the village, or the broken butterfly in the backtracking chest, beats the feeling of buying a copy-pasted striker and resetting your upgrade progress any day of the week. Rating Resident Evil 4. Despite the hiccups, RE4 is a classic, and though the game is kinda long compared to previous RE titles, and has parts that really drag on, it's still super easy to find yourself completing it. Lightning Round, Resident Evil 5. RE5 tried to fix some of RE4's bloat, chiefly with a shorter campaign and a tighter Mercenaries mode. RE5's plot is also a little uncomfortably plausible. Globalistic Medical Corporation uses African villagers as human test subjects. Interesting stuff, but the story ends with a major problem that we'll get to in a bit. The weapons here, however, are as uninspired as the rest of Era 2's, save for a few exceptions. Hydra, S tier. It's fucking awesome. Gatling, S tier. Makes me feel like I'm in a Astartes. Bolter, go brrr. Longbow, A tier. Bows, much like shotguns, have a figured out niche in games. High precision, high damage. The RE5 Longbow is no exception, and when combined with Shiva's tribal outfit, I wonder, after a long day of jungle hiking, what does her armpit smell like? It's worth noting that RE5 Scenarios is excellent. The fact they bundled this together with RE4 Scenarios and released it as a standalone says it all. Rating Resident Evil 5. It's good. And you get to pull multiple Billy Coens. Marvelous. Lightning Round, Resident Evil 6. Shotgun, A tier. Heavy Bioshock-esque metallic sound aesthetic. I'm on board. Chris Redfield, F tier. You may have wondered through the video why I throw shade on the Redfields. Well, here's your answer. You know how in Dragon Ball, people took a liking to Virginia! So the author, Akira Toriyama, just made Virginia a good guy. Well, in Resident Evil 5, Chris kills Albert Wesker. Or at least a clone of his, but let's not get into the lore. This isn't bad writing, it's boring writing. Watching Wesker turn good, or just having him win as the villain, could have been way more fun. But furthermore, this causes huge complications when Resident Evil 6 ends up not having a villain and therefore no plot, which means RE6 turns into a gray modern military wave shooter, Modern Warfare without the excitement, Left 4 Dead without the fun, Gears of War without... well, actually, it's a lot like Gears of War. And I'm pinning this mediocrity in RE6 all on Chris Punch Boulder's Redfield. Somehow, though, in Resident Evil's upcoming third era, Chris fucks up the story again, which in a meta sense turns Chris into the true villain of the story. Weirdly, this 180s it into kinda being excellent writing. Huh. I never thought of that. And as for Claire, I don't like how her motivation for RE2 and CV is just to find her cardboard cutout of a brother. Like, come on guys, women characters can exist without needing to rely on male characters. Women are cool and powerful and can get equal pay. Actually, no, they can't, I'm joking. Rating Resident Evil 6. Don't play it. Now, speaking of the storyline getting clapped, after Capcom got their ass kicked with RE6, they decided it was time to go back to the series' roots, and it went alright, you know. Lightning round. Resident Evil 7. Welcome to the family, son. If I had to, I would describe Resident Evil 7 as Outlast with gameplay, and I fucking love Outlast. Chainsaw Jousting. S tier. Really, that sums the entire game up. No matter how many times I rewrite this part of the script, I just end up gushing about RE7. So let's keep it short. Rating Resident Evil 7.
Play the game.
Lightning round. Resident Evil 8. Guns. Yes tier. Pistols. Yes. Wolfsbane. Yes. Steak. Yes. Horror. S tier. It's scary. Bring a diaper. Magical realism. S tier. I'm a big fan of this surreal Brothers Grimm's-esque Japanesey type stuff, so keep it coming, please. And thank you. Lady Dimitrescu. Not as hot as her daughters. You know I'm right. Rating RE8. It's good. Play it. Next up, lightning round. Resident Evil... we're out of games. I suppose this concludes the lightning round. But, mon chéri, before we can call this list finished, we're left with one last burning question. Something we just have to ask after going through all these dozens of guns and ideas. Nisse, if you had to create a star road with only your favorite weapons from the entire series, which weapons would it be? If I had to pick a favorite category that spans the entire series, it would have to be the shotgun, which was nailed in Resident Evil 1 and not really changed much since. Because why fix what isn't broke, right? And why fix a zombie's head if whatever. If I had to pick one favorite from each game, however, it would be the Magnum, the C.Shotgun, the reload tool, the Canteen, the Death Stare, the Bowgun. Yes, really. The kicks and melee tools, the Hydra, the shotgun, the chainsaw, and the Wolfsbane. Because when replaying Resident Evil, these are the weapons I look forward to most. Cool, but do you have one single weapon that's your favorite of all weapons in the entire series? Well, I do, but you might not like my answer. So, to briefly tease you, I have put a tremendous amount of work into this video. So, consider helping yourself to the like and subscribe button. And if you enjoyed, share this video with a friend or favorite place. For the Resident Evil 4 tier list, check patreon.com/NIS5E. And lastly, there's 2 limited time shirts. One looks like this, and one is secret. You wanna see it? Link in description. Now, tease over. Alright, you ready? Cause you might not like this. My favorite single weapon from the Resident Evil series is the weapon we started this list with. The Resident Evil 1 knife. Wait, why? Because the design philosophy behind the knife is what the entire Resident Evil series leans on. You can't have a little survival horror without a worst case scenario. Now, you might not feel me on this, but then tell me what your favorite weapon is, because we can only call this tier list truly complete if you get to have your say too. And now, I've been working on this video for a while, so I have one more question that I'm going to ask you, and it's only fair. What is your favorite scene secret in the Resident Evil series. My favorite secret, easily, is the handgun bullets below the metal staircase near Kendo's gun shop in Resident Evil 2. I've yet to encounter any other person who knows about these, and I'm not even sure how I found out about it either. I was probably just running around mashing the A button as a kid. Of course, now that I've told you about this, well, it's not so secret anymore. But whatever. Let's call them Nisse's bullets. I like that. That's good. Now, real quick, before we go on commenting, know that there's a few rules. Sparkshot and Redfield family apologists will be teased for their opinions. If your favorite gun is the Bowgun, you're actually a pretty cool and funny person. Third of all, if you're wondering why I didn't cover any of the spin-off games, subscribe, stay tuned. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. You never know. Now, as always, you are important. Thank you for being. For a little more company, click here for more Nisse. Shout out to Grocery Gang, who make this happen. A longtime friend and colleague. Thank you for joining the gang, King. Mwah. Michael Kennedy, Mwah. Admin Lager, Andres Skallsjö, Harry McKenzie, Nathan, Pumba, Omger, Seppums, J Pink, Latsu, Egg, and Revolution Bruce. Thank you all for staying with me during the duration it took to make this. Mwah.